Hello, so this is the first part of my bucket art tutorial, and in this video I'm just going to show you how I make the plain hat, and in the next video I'll show you how I make the cherries that I used to design this art. So if you're interested, make sure you subscribe and stay tuned for more videos. Alright, let's start. Okay, so the materials I use for this project are some random yarn. I always hold 2 strands together to get my desired thickness, and then a 4.5mm crochet hook, some scissors, some stitch markers, and a measuring tape. To start, make a slip knot. Grab your hook and insert it into your slip knot. Adjust your slip knot to the size of your hook and make 4 chains. You make your chains by wrapping your yarn around your hook and pulling it through the loop, and do that 4 times. Once you have your chains down, the first 3 chains from the hook serve as your first double crochet. Now go ahead and make 1 double crochet into that very first chain that you made. To make a double crochet, yarn over, insert your hook into the chain space, and then pull up a loop. Now there should be 3 loops on your hook. Yarn over again and pull through the first 2 loops. Now you should have 2 loops. Yarn over again and pull through the last 2 loops. So that's a double crochet. So right now we have 2 double crochets, since our first 3 chains count as a double crochet. So now you just want to continue making double crochets into that chain until you have 10 double crochets. Four, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I have my 10 double crochets all done. Now what you want to do is to join this round, but to do that we're not going to make a slip stitch, but instead we're going to go into that very first stitch with a double crochet. Remember that first stitch is the chain 3, so go to the top of that chain 3 and make 1 double crochet. So this is where you put your stitch marker. We'll be marking the first stitch of every round. So put your stitch marker in that first double crochet that you just made. And now put 1 more double crochet into that same stitch. So that's 2 double crochets. So what we'll do is that we'll make 2 double crochets into all the stitches going around, and that's our round 2. 2 double crochets into all the stitches. At the end of this round, rather, we should have 20 double crochets. Okay, so that's the end of our second round. You can probably tell by now that we are creating a seamless circle because we are not making slip stitches at the end of every round. So we are creating a spiral circle. So for round 3, what you want to do first is to remove your stitch marker and make 1 double crochet into that first stitch. And before you continue, put the stitch marker back into that double crochet that you just made. Then make 2 double crochets in the next stitch. So 1 and 2 double crochets. Now continue to alternate between 1 double crochet and 2 double crochets going across. The 2 double crochets that we're making is also known as an increase. So anytime you hear me say an increase, it simply means 2 double crochets into 1 stitch. So round 3 is 1 double crochet, then an increase, 1 double crochet, then an increase. So you just want to continue like this until you are done with this round. That is until you get back to your stitch marker. Okay, so now we've come to the end of round 3. We are at the end of round 3 now. And for round 4, make 1 double crochet in the first stitch. Insert your stitch marker back, then make 1 double crochet also in the next stitch. And in the next stitch, make an increase, that is 2 double crochets in 1 stitch. Basically, what we're doing for this round is 1 double crochet, 1 double crochet, then an increase, 1 double crochet, 1 double crochet, then an increase. So that's 2 double crochets in between each increases. So keep at it until the end of round 4. Alright, I'm all done. So we have 4 rounds done. And now for the 5th round, start by removing your stitch marker and make 1 double crochet in that first stitch. Insert your stitch marker back to mark that first stitch of the round. Now go ahead and make 2 double crochets into the next 2 stitches. So this is 2 and then 3. And the next stitch now is going to be an increase. So you probably guessed that already, right? So in between each increases, we are having 3 double crochets, and this is the pattern for round 5. So guys, at this point you've probably noticed now that the number of double crochets in between our increases have been increasing gradually as the number of round increases. So let's back up a little bit. For round 3 we had 1 double crochet in between our increases. For round 4 we had 2 double crochets in between our increases, and now for round 5 we have 3 double crochets in between our increases. So that's 1 double crochet, 1 double crochet, 1 double crochet, then an increase. Now we're just going to continue like this. For round 6 you should have 4 double crochets in between your increases. Round 7 will be 5 double crochets in between your increases. Round 8 will be 6 double crochets in between your increases, and so on and so forth. So we're just going to continue with this pattern until we have 10 rounds. So we have 5 rounds now. We're going to make 5 more rounds. But before we do that, I want to give you a few tips to help you keep track of your work as you go. Tip number 1. You remember that we started with 10 double crochets in the first round. So each round increases your number of stitches by 10 double crochets. So round 1 has 10 double crochets, round 2 has 20, round 3 has 30, round 4 has 40, and round 5 has 50 double crochets. So just keep that in mind as you work. The tip number 2 is that you should have a flat circle throughout your increase rounds. And the final tip is that you should always end on an increase, okay? So we always started with 1 double crochet, but at the end of each round you should always end on an increase. So those are just the 3 tips that I have that I think that this should help you to work, just in case you don't like to count your stitch. So if your round doesn't end on an increase, that means you probably made a mistake somewhere and you can just go back and check. So for now, we're just going to continue with this pattern of increasing the number of stitches we have in between every increase until we have 10 rounds. And I'll be back to show you what I have. Okay guys, so I'm back and I have my 10 rounds all done. Let's quickly measure this so you know how wide your work should look like at this point. This is about 8.5 inches in diameter, and this is enough to cover the top of my head. So if you're making this hat for a bigger size, then you should probably make more increase rounds, and if you're making it for a smaller size, then you should make less. So once we're at this point, remember what I said about ending on an increase, and that's exactly what I have here in my 10th round. Also, on the 10th round, you should have 8 double crochets in between each increase. So this is an increase, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, and another increase. Moving on to the next round, just make 1 double crochet into all the stitches. Start by removing your stitch marker, of course. Put 1 double crochet in the first stitch. Insert your stitch marker back. We've started 11th round like this. So you just want to continue putting 1 double crochet into all the stitches until the very end. And this is also known as a no increase round. So in this round, we are not making any increases in any stitch. Now just repeat round 11 until you have 17 rounds. This is quite straightforward, right? I'm back and I have my 17 rounds all done. Just quickly counting that to make sure. Okay, so now for the 18th round, which is an increase round, make 1 double crochet in the first stitch. Mark it. Then make 2 double crochets in the next stitch. Round 18 is the same as round 3, where we alternate between 1 double crochet and 2 double crochet, or an increase, until the end. So keep alternating between 1 double crochet and 2 double crochets till the end of round 18. For round 19, make 1 double crochet in the first stitch. Mark your first stitch. Then make 1 double crochet in the next stitch again, and then an increase in the third stitch. So round 19 is the same thing as round 4, where we have 2 double crochets in between all our increases. So continue like this until the end of round 19. Now we are at the end of round 19 and I'm about to fasten off. So take off your stitch marker and make 1 double crochet into the first stitch. In the next stitch, make 1 half double crochet. Then make a single crochet in the next stitch and a slip stitch in the next one. So what I just did now is a gradual decrease in height. Now you just want to go ahead and cut off the excess yarn and fasten off. Don't forget to weave in all your loose ends. And that's it. That is what the finished hat should look like. So guys, if you enjoyed this tutorial, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more videos, and I'll see you in the next video where I'll teach you how to make the cherries that I used to design these hats.